This is my good friend and colleague, Jian Wei. So I like to start off these things by talking a little bit about how we know each other. I did just say we work together, but what do you remember about?
I remember hiring Alexa in an interview.
Yes.
And I remember among all the candidates we have, it's like Alexa is one of the most charming, having this energy in the room. So it's like, okay, got to hire her into our design team. So that's our first interaction.
Oh, that's so sweet. Okay, let's start by talking about what do you do?
My name is Jian Wei, but you can call me Jian. I prefer to pronounce it that way, it's easier. I'm a product designer at Zendesk, so I basically do a whole bunch of things like prototyping, wireframing, talking to users, also research. Basically, I do whatever it takes to solve customers' problem. Yep.
Yeah. Have you thought much about why you do what you do?
Well, that will bring me back to when I was in middle school. I didn't know about design or coding or what's not. So one day, my teacher gave me an idea. Hey, why don't you design a website for our school? And I was like, sure. So I learned basic HTML, and I was fascinated by how bits of code can change the color, change the font, and all this. I was like, okay, I'm gonna start doing this more and more, and slowly this turned into an interest, to a passion, and right now into my career.
What would you say are some of your strengths as a designer?
I think one of my strengths is facilitation. So basically, when I moved from Singapore to San Francisco office, I realized that designers have been designing, and after we design, we hand off to engineers, and once we're done, we hand off to marketing, and then we hand into sales. So it's like a very waterfall kind of journey. So I wanted to try something new, is that I want to involve non-designers into the part of the design process. So what I did was I heard about the Google Design Sprint, and I actually attended one of the conference, and then I said, hey, okay, let's do this. So I've been doing this since I moved here about 12 times. I've run 12 design sessions. Yeah. So I think one of the good thing about facilitation is that you have to keep doing this and involving people like marketing, sales, product managers, engineers into all this, into a room where they understand the problem, they solve the problem as a team. So it's not just designers' job to design, hand off to the engineers, and so on and so forth. It's like you all put them into a room and make sense things and come and sketch together. And that's how I think it is more fruitful for us as a designer to understand all these different personas contributing to all these design ideas.
Yeah, that's amazing. So at what point do you think we need to put together a design sprint? How does that work?
So I feel that there is two kind of approach that we can see. So I would call this the lean and the robust. The lean meaning that our competitor has already done, so we don't need to do some kind of research or deep thoughts or some kind of group thinking. The robust approach is where the problem is not there, the solution is not there, you're unsure, you're not sure whether you want to execute or how to execute the feature. So this is where you need to involve all these cross-functional teams together, brainstorm together, and sketch out ideas. And that's, I think, that is the way I think that we think that we should run design sessions based on that.
Yeah, nice. And how long do you think it took you to really feel confident saying facilitation is one of my strengths?
So the first few times when I did design facilitation or design sessions, it's I realized that we have all these different people in the room. We have engineers, we have PM, we have sales. All of them come up with really different ideas. It's okay, maybe I didn't phrase it in a way that what is the actual problem. So all of them come up with different ideas. And me as a designer, when I look at all these sketches, okay, how can I digest all this? So okay, this is something that I need to improve on. So the following design sessions, I make it clear that okay, this is just for the agent experience. This is just for this persona. These are the customers that we are solving for. So it's very, very specific. And all of them, when I realized that they came out with sort of the same idea but different approach, that's where I tell myself, okay, I did it right.
Nice. Okay, so you said you've done 12 of these, right? So was it at like the 5th one or the 6th one? Like, what do you think? How many of these do I need to facilitate before I'm like, maybe I got it?
Well, I don't know, but for me, I think it took me like maybe the 5th or 6th,
Nice.
or maybe the 7th to get it like really right, coming up with the real process, coming up with the agenda. But I would say that if you are not sure, like always look at the outcomes of it, compare to self the problem, whether the outcome and the problem is it matched, right? Because the problem that we share, the outcome might be totally different from the problem. So that's something that I think we should be cautious of when we do design sessions.
Yeah, great. There's definitely something to be said about repetition. Right? Okay, awesome. So, what would you say are some specific design skills that you're trying to work on and improve on right now?
There's so many. I think one thing that I can think of right now is documentation. So in the design team, if you are just a designer in the company, well, you probably don't have to document because it's just you, right? You're just looking at all the designs. But if you work with a team of designers, especially across different globes, I think this is where whenever you design, all the design decision has to be documented, all the research, all the user flows, all the user journey, and of course how you make the decision, how you arrive at it should be documented, so that when someone like asks you, hey Jian, why did you design this? Why is it this? Why do you design this manner? You can actually refer someone to the document, refer back, and they can actually understand like the design process.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Is there a difference between art and design?
I think there's a fine line between art and design. For me, art is about self-expression. It's about doing what you yourself love. You don't need to care about what people think. What about people's opinion, thoughts, and etc. However, for design is always about designing for someone. There is always a target audience. There's always an intended or a purpose. So I felt that that's how I see both the differences. Is that art is basically you are expressing a problem, but for design it's about solving a problem. And that's why for design, you always have some constant iteration. You always try to improve on it. But for art, you could just do one artwork and that's it. I don't have to iterate on it.
Yeah. So, do you have any resources that we could share with our audience that you think would be good sources of like good learning opportunities? Yeah.
Really depend on like what you really want to learn. So for myself, the best way to learn is to go to Product Hunt, look at all the new products, sign up. You can take a look at the onboarding. You can check out like the user experience, the visuals, the illustrations. And sometimes I go to the App Store, not just the iOS App Store, also the Android App Store, just to download like the latest apps and try it out and take a look at it. And I felt that was the best way to learn, is to try out real products, install it, and yeah, you can even have like a notebook to jot down like what's good about this onboarding, what's bad about it. So sometimes it doesn't need to like install the most popular apps. You can just install like apps that's not popular, so that you can understand like why is it not popular, how can you improve it, and you can even do like a portfolio of your own like a redesign of this app that is so bad that what can be improved on. Yeah. And the other thing could be playing games, because I realize game UI is always like way more advanced in terms of like how we think about product design. So example like recent games, right? I always download games that have like different, there's console, there's PC, there's handheld. I always try to download the same game and try to play it, so you can see like how the designers think about touchscreen versus PC versus playing on a control. It's really different experience.
Very cool. Do you have one in mind, like a game in mind that you've done it with?
So recently I downloaded this game called Monster Hunter World. It's a pretty popular game. It's like you hunt monsters and you need to slash and hack. So the thing that you play on so for me, I'm used to keyboard and a mouse, so it's very natural for me. But when I switch to a controller, it's like, oops. I have to remember. Yeah, so it's like
Interesting. Very cool.
Yeah.
Love it. And if we were to like pull up your phone right now, is there an app that you think is really well designed that the audience can go and like check out?
Oh, okay.
It could even be like a really popular one or whatever you think.
So the first thing that came up to mind is most used app, which is Venmo.
Oh, nice.
Like
yeah.
people pay me and I pay them. It's like so easy, and sometimes you don't even need your phone, right? When someone requests you the money on my Apple Watch, I can just pay. It's so easy, so simple.
Yeah.
Yep. So I think
cool.
that would be my number one.
Venmo?
Yeah. Venmo.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Very
And
cool.
thanks
Love
Venmo
it.
team.
Okay, and where can people find you online and check out your work?
Right now, I haven't been doing my portfolio. I just put like a splash page. But if you want to see like my handsome face, you can go to meetbygw.com.
Love it.
Cheers.
Cheers to that.
All right, man. Thanks so much. Very nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Bye. See you tomorrow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Cool. So, last interview.
All right.
Yeah.
What'd you think? What'd you
That
learn?
was great. Oh man. Always, what did I learn?
Always, what did you learn? Because you got to learn from these people.
Yeah, no, I love what Jian Wei said about facilitation because I know from experience that he's so good at that, and it's really interesting to learn about how many sessions he's run and
Yeah.
like what he thinks about how it's improved over time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
13.
Yeah, let's turn this way.
All right.
Yeah, I have drinking a lot of tea today, and probably not gonna be able to sleep. So that's another thing.
This is Alexa.
Hi.
Hey, so good
So
to
nice
meet
to
you.
meet you.
So this is Chad. Chad, do you want to start just by like how do we know each other?
Yeah, so we met at Mentor Night. Mentor Night, I believe, is once a month. Just help local area designers, either new or junior designers, come in and talk to someone that's a little more senior that can help them out. Typically, they want help with their portfolio, which can be fine. But I think the best benefit is just answering questions and getting kind of expectation of what they should know, what they should learn, or what they should expect when they go into a role that they hopefully enjoy.
So why don't you start with kind of who are you and what do you do?
So I'm a product designer. I work at a company called Product Hunt. As far as who I am, at my core, I think I'm a maker. It's something I've really enjoyed from a young age, whether it was like getting a hammer in my hands or playing with Legos. I think by the time my family got our first computer that had the internet, and I was experiencing the early web, all the way to like actually playing around with GeoCities, if you've heard of that. If not, go look up the Wikipedia page. But that was at a point where I was like, whoa, a 12-year-old can have his own kind of presence on the web and can actually make something. And that just kind of progressed to learning how to code, so that I could do some things a little more advanced from that perspective. And it's just grown from there.
Yeah, I think one thing that's really cool on your portfolio, I saw you just have like different things that you've designed and built over the past years and everything. And it's really cool when you come across those people who can do both. So yeah. So what would you say are your strengths as a designer?
I think my biggest strength as a designer is just being a part of the entire what I call startup stack. So, that involves design, but also development, and then a little bit of the business. And part of that is just being really curious. So you want to learn how kind of the whole process works, or the whole the whole process of design, the whole, I guess, like evolution of design being actually implemented. But the power of knowing development as well is, what's actually possible, and also, how difficult it is to actually implement.
How do you make sure you keep flexing those muscles and keep learning? Like, how do you find the time to keep learning the business, keep learning the engineering, that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I think the best way to learn something, especially something new, is try to find a project to actually apply it towards. Whether that's something like at your job or at some sort of side project you're working on, or it could even be a tool that just helps you in your own life and something that you don't even release to the entire world. Hopefully you do, but I think all of that allows you to, especially within development, like the best way to learn how to do it, even just the basics, is to actually learn it through a project. And something that that's really interesting for you, or something that really solves something that you've always wanted to solve. I think it'll stick a lot easier.
Just passion projects over and over.
Yep.
Keep flexing.
You can't have enough side projects.
Nice. Yeah.
That's my motto.
Awesome. So you have this startup stack of design, development, and business. Did you study one of those, or what? Like, kind of where did you start, and how did you kind of become a designer?
So I have no formal education.
Oh, okay.
I'm in that camp.
Cool.
Which I think is great because it definitely gives access to design and development and even business to more people. There's countless resources online. I think that's more and more apparent today. I was lucky early on that, at a young age, I figured that out just through pure passion and just tinkering around. As far as like how long it might take to learn these things, I try not to focus on time. I believe the old way was, you go to school for 4 years, you find a career that you stick to, and then you retire. And especially this industry, there's no way that'll work.
Yeah.
You have to be really curious about what's new, and technology moves really fast. And luckily you can keep up with that by just kind of watching where these trends are moving towards, and the resources will come, and a lot of them are, really affordable or even free. So yeah, we're a really lucky industry.
What specific design skills are you working on right now to get better at?
Yeah, in the last month, funny enough, I've been focusing on keyboard shortcuts in Sketch. Which, that's something that I never set out to really focus on. I didn't think it was something that was really required, but spending just a little bit of time to memorize that has really sped up, the craft of actually designing something out, and really just overall speeds up the flow of, bringing ideas and actually getting them onto canvas.
Are you going to put that on your resume, like expert Sketch keyboard shortcuts?
I try not to put that.
But legitimately, it's useful. It really is.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the more time that, you can stay away from the inspector or like the menu bar and focus on the actual artboard and the product itself.
Yeah. Do you have any opinion on this? What is the difference between design and art?
Ooh, this question. Personally, I always find art to be something that's like subjective. It's meant to be noticed, right? It's going to a museum or an art gallery and looking at something on the wall or in front of you. It's meant to form a lot of discussion. It's, like I said, really meant to be noticed. To where design on the other side is, especially good design, is meant to solve a problem. It's meant to make someone's life easier. It's meant to provide a really great experience.
And lastly, can you share with us any resources or sources of inspiration that you have?
A shameless plug, but Product Hunt is probably my number one source for inspiration and learning. If you don't know what Product Hunt is, it's a place for makers and product people to really just geek out about products and learn about new products. The main aspect is that there's a leaderboard of products and resources every day that you can go through and see what catches your eye. And to be fair, it's been part of my daily routine years before I joined Product Hunt. People will definitely launch learning resources there between like design and development, But also in terms of product inspiration, there's just tons of new products you can download and go through, and I mean you get not only like interface inspiration, but also what makes really great onboarding or a really great just overall experience and flow. I also prefer to bookmark things that I know will come in really handy in the future, especially things like APIs. I think being able to know what's out there in the API world is a really great and undervalued kind of resource. We're really lucky that we're in the time that we're kind of just creating this whole, I would say, ecosystem, and we're all kind of supporting each other. So being able to know what's possible or have that kind of in your back pocket for when you're working on a project or a design is really, really powerful.
Can you explain just what is an API and how do companies use them?
Yeah, and let's see if I can remember. I think it stands for Application Programming Interface.
Something like that.
I consider APIs as kind of a tool set that allow you to plug into a resource that you don't have to build yourself. So an example of that is Twilio provides a great API for sending text messages or push notifications, something that is either almost impossible or very difficult to build as a developer, no matter how big your company is.
So it's like building blocks. You can like use different building blocks,
Exactly.
plug it into your product or design.
Exactly. And I think especially for kind of proving out an MVP, they're so powerful in terms of just putting these building blocks together to prove something out. And if you have to bring costs down later by building yourself, that's fine. But the closer that you can get to actually testing something, the better, obviously. And APIs really, really push that.
Lastly, where can people find you online if they want to follow you, see your work, all that kind of stuff?
Absolutely. The best place to get a hold of me is on Twitter @Chad Whitaker. You can also follow me on Product Hunt.
Cheers. Nice.
That was it.
And now we're going to a wine bar to discuss our thoughts and our feelings. Now, just I don't know.
Chill out.
Chill out.
Have a glass of wine and reflect on the day.
Cheers.
Yay.
Long but fun day. So one thing I really enjoyed about today, I feel like I don't spend enough time just like talking with other designers. With Chad, he was talking about how APIs are actually quite helpful for him in thinking about how to design various products and how to come up with various product ideas. And I think it's totally true. It's not something a traditional designer coming from like a strict design background would have told me, I feel like. So it's good to hear about the like alternative resources that are helpful.
I think what I wanted to just end the day with was just to say that I just think it's so important to meet new people, go out, ask them out for coffee or tea, and just get to know them and learn about their perspectives and their processes and all those sorts of things, because gosh, there's just so much to learn and there's so many people out there, and I think this day was just a good reminder to put yourself out there and go and do that sort of maybe it's uncomfortable, go and just like meet people and talk to people. So if you haven't before, I would challenge you to reach out to someone. If you're a product designer, reach out to another product designer in your community and try to get to know them and learn about what they're up to and create that relationship. Okay, so we're almost back, and before we finally ended everything, I wanted to just make sure that you remembered to subscribe to this YouTube channel, to my YouTube channel, if you thought this was fun and productive. No, that was bad. Let's start over. Just like and subscribe.
Hey,
see, like, here's the thing.
subscribe, bum.
Here's the thing, though. Like, if you didn't like the video, you don't have to like it. I don't want you to like something just because it tells you to like it. Like, I want you to actually enjoy and like the video to like the video. So if you liked the video, you should like it. And also, if you like me in this YouTube channel, you should subscribe to my channel. Yeah?
Yeah, I think
Okay,
so. I would subscribe.
That's it. Chris would subscribe and hopefully has subscribed.
I hopefully have. Yeah, I have.
That's it. Bye. Say bye.
Oh, bye.